if I believe that the Bitcoin is digital gold,
Yeah.
so today it's $1 trillion. It's about $500 billion of Bitcoin, $500 billion of other. So Bitcoin today is about $500 billion.
Yeah.
The monetary value of gold is $5 trillion.
Right.
Okay. So that's 10 times from here.
Correct.
Every halving, we add a zero. Every halving, we 10x the value of the network. And that's just the way Metcalfe's law math works. So we went from 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000.
Right.
Next April, 100,000 becomes the new fair value.
Mark Yusko, the founder of Morgan Creek Capital Management, is a prominent hedge fund manager and digital asset advocate. He sees Bitcoin as digital gold and believes blockchain is the superior alternative to the current trust system managed by central banks and traditional financial institutions, which he deems costly for the world. Yusko highlights historical instances, like the Rothschild family's wealth accumulation through fiat currency devaluation, as proof of the existing system's flaws. In a recent podcast, Yusko emphasized the imminent shift from the trust system to blockchain technology. He cited influential figures like Larry Fink of BlackRock advocating for Bitcoin as a hedge against currency devaluation. Yusko predicts a substantial surge for Bitcoin in 2023, driven by institutional investment and the upcoming halving event. He envisions Bitcoin easily reaching $100,000 per coin by the 2028 halving event, ultimately becoming a $5 trillion asset class.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
The long-term outlook never been better. And that's just simply because in every technological evolution,
Yep.
every day that passes makes it better.
Yeah.
Because you have the failures, you have the foibles, you have the flaws that you find, you fix them and you build and you keep building. And so every day that passes, whether it was mainframes in the 50s, whether it was microchips in the 60s, whether it was a personal computer in 82, internet in 96, MobileNet in 2010, and now the TruthNet in 2024. See, here's the crazy thing. Next year is only the first year of the true knee of the curve of the S curve. The previous 10 years was the warm-up, right? S curves go like this.
Yep.
You get 10% over a decade, then 80% the next decade, then the last maturity over the next couple decades. And the first decade is for the pioneers and the early adopters and, the Vasco da Gamas and the Christopher Colons that go out when Bitcoin was 3 cents. That's what those people were. They were the pioneers and they take the arrows, right? So we did a podcast a couple weeks ago with Scott Stornetta. Scott Stornetta is one of the co-fathers of blockchain technology.
Yep.
He and his partner literally coined the term. They invented it, cryptographic security. And I was talking to him about the aha moment. And in fact, if you read the white paper, the Bitcoin white paper, on the last page, there are 8 footnotes. 3 of them are his. He and Stuart Haber, 3 of the footnotes of Satoshi Nakamoto's work are Scott. And Scott says, well, here's the thing. You realize that we have all this information.
Yeah.
And we can chain it into these series of blocks. Hence blockchain. That was one aha moment. But the other one that was cool, he said, so I was thinking about this issue of confirming or affirming information. And 2 people need a third to look over their shoulder. But the third person's corruptible, so you need a 4th to look over the third. And you need a 5th to look over the 4th and a 6th. So you need the whole world. Boom. That's a blockchain.
Right.
Blockchain's better. We don't need every person. We need a system, a distributed ledger that can verify truth. And the reason the outlook's never been better for crypto is we are on the verge, literally on the verge of replacing trust with truth.
Trust and truth.
And trust is a $7 trillion industry every year. The Medicis, the Morgans, the Rothschilds, the auditing firms, the accountants, they strip out $7 trillion from us, right? To have a bank account, it costs me money. To send you money, it costs me money. To get audited, it costs me money. All of those things are transactional costs that these guys have lived on for 800 years. And it created the greatest wealth and income inequality in the history of mankind. Blockchain allows us to do what Bitcoin allows us to do, is to blow that system up.
Yeah.
If you liberate $7 trillion and put it back in the hands of the people, what happens?
Yeah.
Human creativity gets unlocked. And the most powerful force in the world, other than compound interest, is human creativity.
Yusko also weighed in on Cathie Wood's recent cryptocurrency prediction. In a recent interview with Ben Zinga, the founder and CEO of ARK Invest predicted that the total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies would surge by over 2,100% by 2030. Wood attributed this significant increase to financial institutions heavily investing in Bitcoin and other digital assets, especially once the SEC approves a spot Bitcoin ETF next year. Wood explained that institutional interest would drive up demand for Bitcoin, given its limited supply, leading to a substantial price increase. Wood's estimates envision the overall crypto market cap growing from slightly over $1 trillion to at least $25 trillion by 2030, with Bitcoin accounting for half of this market cap and potentially trading at around $650,000 per coin. Yusko's predictions, in contrast, are more conservative. He foresees a $5 trillion market cap for Bitcoin and another $5 trillion for the broader cryptocurrency industry. In his further remarks during the interview, Yusko discussed the devaluation of traditional currency, the transition from the trust system to blockchain, and his own projections for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency industry as a whole.
The Rothschilds created the first bank, central bank,
Yeah.
that created money out of thin air. No longer backed by gold, no longer actual reserves. They could finance wars by printing money.
Right.
And
This is what we do.
And that's what we do all over the world. But here's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
That single family, because of that move in 1607, that single family, now it's a big ass family,
Yeah.
right? A lot of descendants,
Yeah.
more wealth in that one family than the bottom 6 billion people on the planet.
That's crazy.
The bottom 3/4 of the people on this planet have less wealth than a single family. Because in the 1800s, in late 1600s, a few of those Rothschilds went to the UK and created the Bank of England.
Right.
In the early 1700s. And then the Bank of England kind of messed up with the little colonies in America. And then in 1913, we borrowed the model, again, with the help of the Rothschilds. Because remember, the Fed is not federal, nor does it have any reserves. It is a private corporation
It's owned by the banks.
By the banks and these families.
Yeah.
It's owned by Rothschilds
Yep.
and Morgans
Yep.
and all these people. And its job is simply to enrich the banks. And how do they do that? They enrich banks by inflation.
Mm-hmm.
They print money, which makes the assets owned by the people at the top more valuable. You may not like Larry Fink. You may like whatever. You gotta admit he's one of the most powerful people in the world, right? He's the head of one of the largest companies in the world, maybe at the center of this Ukraine thing, but whatever. So like him, love him, hate him, whatever. He's a powerful guy, right?
Yeah.
5 years ago, what does he say about Bitcoin? Well, it's an index of money laundering.
Yeah.
Okay. What did he say 3 weeks ago?
It's digital
It's here
gold.
to stay.
Right.
Institutions are going to own it. I'm going to do an ETF. And you probably want to own some to protect yourself against devaluation of the currency. This thing on Cathie and her 25 trillion. Cathie is a hyperbolist.
Yeah.
That's what she does.
Yeah.
And directionally, she's always right. Directionally.
Oh yeah.
100%, right? But she exaggerates like to a level that should not be allowed. I'll tell you how I do it, right? So if I believe that the Bitcoin is digital gold.
Yeah.
So today it's $1 trillion. It's about $500 billion of Bitcoin, $500 billion of other. So Bitcoin today is about $500 billion.
Yeah.
The monetary value of gold is $5 trillion.
Right.
Okay. So that's 10 times from here.
Correct.
Every halving, we add a zero. Every halving, we 10x the value of the network. And that's just the way Metcalfe's law math works. So we went from 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000.
Right.
Next April, 100,000 becomes the new fair value. So at 100,000, we're at about 1.5 trillion. So we're a third of the way to that 5 trillion. I'll say by the next halving, which would be 28, easily we're through the 5 trillion.
Yusko underscores the significance of gradually withdrawing our money from the current financial system. He acknowledges that this transition would need to be gradual, especially as traditional banking custodians strongly resist the idea of replacing their outdated and, in his view, corrupt system. While we may not be able to entirely opt out of the system, Yusko believes that taking a portion of our wealth out of it is sufficient to advance the adoption of the new system. Yusko envisions a critical turning point when people collectively recognize the obsolescence of the old system and its need for retirement. At this juncture, he anticipates the initiation of a recovery process that will contribute to healing our world through the new truth system enabled by blockchain technology. What are your thoughts on Yusko's interview and his Bitcoin predictions? Feel free to share your comments and observations in the comments section below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.